Hey, souls and spirits out there, and welcome back to the sacred space that we've created together. I am so grateful you are here. Today is actually the 20th episode, and I am so proud that I have made it this far. Honestly, I never knew when I started this what it would kind of become. And I'm so happy I get to do this. I get to share my experiences with you. I get to learn about things as we kind of do this. And the feedback I've gotten from people, I'm so grateful that I can kind of help you guys figure out your own truths and maybe give you some ideas on where to look and what to kind of work on. And I'm really proud of that. So, if this is your very first episode, welcome. I'm grateful that you have found it. If you've been there from the beginning, I am so thankful that you have continued to listen and you've stuck by me. And I am so appreciative and so proud that we've made it this far. So, today we're going to be stepping into a realm that every single one of us visits, even if we don't really know it, but very few actually try to truly understand, and that's the land of dreams. Not just random images that kind of flicker through your mind at night, but the dreams that feel like portals or messages or even initiations into something. Because it's always been believed that dreams aren't just the little picture movies that happen while we're sleeping. What if they're conversations, between you and something bigger out there? So let's dive in. Dreams have fascinated humanity for thousands of years. And ancient civilizations didn't dismiss dreams as nonsense. They saw them as something sacred. In ancient Egypt, dreams were considered messages from the divine. Temples even had dream chambers where initiates would come and sleep and receive kind of visions from the gods, and oftentimes the priests and the priestesses would interpret those. I have been into those dream chambers, the one specifically in Dendera to Hathor, the temple dedicated to Hathor. It is amazing because you walk up and it's just this hole in the ground, and the last time I went, I was 6 months pregnant, and you had to crawl down into this hole, and you have to crawl, and then it opens up into this big, long chamber, and you would have, I believe it was 2 different spots, and, like, you would sleep in there, and then you would have your dream, and you would come out, and, it was this whole thing. It was incredible. In many indigenous traditions, dreams are often seen as kind of bridges between worlds, a place where the ancestors speak, where guidance is given, and where healing can happen. Oftentimes, we see bridges as kind of one of these symbols for the in between our world and the spirit world. So it makes perfect sense that a lot of times if we have dreams like that, that we are on a bridge. But in modern society, we're often taught that dreams are just brain processing information. And while science tells us that dreams help with memory and emotion and cognition, it doesn't really fully explain their depth. And dreams can absolutely help us process information for our daily lives. I'm not saying that, but some dreams just kind of feel different, don't they? Some dreams just feel realer oftentimes than our waking lives. Some dreams stay with you for years. I know, I mean, at this moment in time, I can think of several different dreams I've had over the years that will literally never leave my brain. They kind of whisper things to me that I can't really put into words. But what are they saying exactly? Dreams exist on multiple levels psychologically, processing information, experiences, digging back into those things. Symbolically, speaking in archetypes and imagery and all kinds of things. Spiritually, connecting us to higher realms and guides and our inner wisdom. And energetically, moving through the subtle dimensions of our consciousness. They do all of those things. They're not just random. And I'm not saying that you can't have a random one every now and again. I had a friend in high school that used to text me her dreams, and they would be the wildest things, and they would seem completely random. But they are almost their own language in sorts of symbols and feelings and energy. And so sometimes you have to really break them apart to figure out what the heck they're saying. Now, scientifically, dreams often occur during REM sleep or rapid eye movement. During this stage, the brain becomes highly active and your mind kind of enters into a deeply imaginative state. The brain begins to weave together, our memories, our emotions, fears, and desires we have. That's why dreams can feel so chaotic. They're pulling from, 100 different places at once, all of these layers of our psyche. And which one of us doesn't have a lot going on right now? I mean, seriously, I have about 500 things, and my dreams are wild a lot of the time. But even science is starting to acknowledge that dreams can help us integrate our experiences and solve problems. I mean, have you ever gone to sleep feeling confused about something or frustrated, or just kind of laying there thinking about a problem and you finally fell asleep? And then you woke up with clarity on maybe what you should do, or maybe you dreamed of something later that happened in real life. Science calls it a coincidence, but many traditions may call it part of your intuitive awakening. Dreams often speak in symbols rather than messages, right? Because the universe can't give us all of the answers directly. What would be the point? For example, water may represent your emotions. A house in your dream may represent the self. This physical body is kind of the house of our soul, our spirit. Death maybe represents a transformation. Flying may represent freedom. If you're naked in your dream in some way, it may symbolize feeling vulnerable or insecure or being exposed or judged in your waking life. I have an ongoing random dream where I'm on a roller coaster and I'm with my high school class a lot of times, but there will be people from my life now. I mean, I'm obviously not in high school, but those people kind of come back for whatever reason, and we're at a park and we're on a roller coaster, and I'm always naked every time. And I pull up to the station and I'm naked, and people are waiting to get on, and I can't get off the ride because I'm naked. I don't know what happened to my clothes, but if I have a naked dream, that's what's happening. I never have the dream where I'm, public speaking and I'm naked. No, I'm always on a roller coaster, and I'm not sure what that means. I usually judge who else kind of shows up in the dream at the time to kind of help me figure out what it is that I'm feeling insecure about, or maybe feeling like I'm being judged. But that's just kind of one option there. But here's the key of that: dream symbols are like symbols in our personal lives that we work with. A snake for one person may represent healing, may represent transformation or the Kundalini energy. But if I see a snake personally, it probably represents a fear for me because I am terrified of snakes. Or the Egyptian goddess Wadjet. She shows up sometimes because she knows she's the only snake I'll accept around, because I like just about everything else, but snakes move way too fast for me for not having legs. I can't take it. But dreams are like poetry or an abstract painting we see. But they don't give you all the answers directly. They invite you into feeling the meaning behind what is going on. They could be an emotional release. They could be messages from your higher self, or direct guidance from spirit guides and loved ones, even encounters from other realms or past lives or parallel lives. Literally, all the things can show up in dreams. Many people have experienced visitation dreams or prophetic dreams, lucid dreams, astral travel, even. And while no, not every dream you're going to have is probably mystical in some way, but there's going to be some that absolutely are. So let's explore some of the different types of dreams out there. Processing dreams, these are going to be your most common ones. They help you work through your emotions or release stress or integrate with kind of what's been going on in your day to day. They may feel chaotic or fragmented or just kind of downright random. I mean, these are the ones I have a lot of times, and I wake up and I'm like, what happened there? What was going on? Lucid dreaming is another one. It's actually the rarest type of dream. It's when you are aware that you are dreaming. So you're in your dream, but you're like, yep, I'm dreaming right now. You're still inside that dream. But in that state, you may be able to control the environment. It's the one where it literally feels like magic, where you're like, poof, I want to be doing this, or, that, or you can ask questions or explore just consciously because you're there. Lucid dreaming can be a powerful tool in healing or spiritual exploration or creativity. A lot of times, for some reason, these are my dreams. Even the ones where I'm processing stuff from my day to day, I am almost always aware that I'm dreaming. I'm literally in my dream and I'm like, why am I doing this? This is random. But I really haven't noticed that I have control of my dreams. I just have to kind of go along with what's happening in the narrative, but I'm aware of it. I wake up and I know that, like, I know exactly what was being done. I remember dreaming and I remember being awake. I remember knowing that, like, in that dream, I was dreaming. It's kind of confusing. We also have prophetic dreams. These dreams seem to predict future events. They may come as symbolic visions or direct experiences or even emotional impressions of things about to happen. They may not make sense until later. My most understandable one, I knew before my husband proposed to me that he was going to propose. For the whole month beforehand, I started having dreams of him proposing, and they were in the most random places. The one I remember specifically is we were going through in my dream, we were going through Walmart, we were picking produce, and all of a sudden he just bent down and proposed to me. And I remember being awake in that dream and I'm like, "Really? This is the place you pick? This is weird." But as soon as these started happening, I'm like, "Okay, he's going to propose soon." I already knew that that was about to happen. And he didn't give me any other clues in our day to day, but I started having dreams about it and I just knew that that was going to happen. Visitation dreams are when you have a visitation, surprise, surprise, with a loved one who has passed, a spirit guide, a deity, angels, archetypal figures, anything like that. These dreams can feel incredibly real and vivid. If you've been gifted one of these dreams, you may wake up feeling peaceful or comforted, or even if your heart aches from seeing them, they still kind of give you just a warm embrace. My most recent one was probably this past summer. My most vivid one was this past summer. One of my all-time just like biggest supporters and teachers passed away. And it was about 2 weeks after she passed. I had a dream. We were on vacation and I had a dream and we talked about that bridge. There's a specific place in the spirit world that there's a bridge that, like, that's where I meet my loved ones. And it kind of arcs up and I'm walking up my side and I get to the top and I'm looking over a river and there's always this very specific bench and I hear my name being called and I looked back and it was my teacher Sharon, and she came walking towards me and she was probably 30 years younger than when she passed. I remember she was wearing a cute little t-shirt and jeans, and I've never seen her wear jeans in her life, and her hair was, the bright strawberry that I assumed it probably was when she was about that age. And I remember in that dream just hysterically bawling and just knowing that I was meeting with, Sharon. I was meeting with her soul or her spirit as Sharon. I remember hugging her and it was so real. And that is a visitation dream. I've had a lot of those over the years for people who I've loved who have passed. I don't get the hardcore ones like that. Like that one, like I knew she came to me then to show me that she was okay and she wasn't in pain anymore and how young she looked and everything. And it was for me. It was for me to know. And I don't get those all the time, but when someone passes or I'm going through something big in my life, in my day to day or something, one of my loved ones always shows up and it's always at that bridge, and it's always, there's a bridge and there is a bench, and sometimes we sit on it and talk, and sometimes we just, stand and look out on the water. But that is a very specific place that I don't know if I've created or if it's a, real place in the spirit world, but that's always where I have my visitations with loved ones. Now I have them with spirit guides and, the Egyptian gods that I work with, and those are always going to be very different places for me. So it just kind of depends on the person. I have started to recognize, where my spots are, where I meet my people in my visitation dreams. Another type of dream, some people call shadow dreams, which are dreams that bring up fear, anxiety, and darkness. I like the word shadow dream better than nightmares, and they could potentially be two different things, but they are not really negative. But they are a way for your psyche to ask kind of what you are facing and what has kind of been hidden from you, the shadow. Our shadow self isn't our enemy, it's still a part of us that is seeking integration into the whole of who we are. And so they are very important types of dreams as well. And the last one I'll mention is a teaching or an initiatory dream. Dreams that feel sacred. You wake up and you're like, something has shifted, something is different. Dreams where you may visit sacred spaces or perform rituals or have teachings or visualize symbols of transformation. These are often dreams of an awakening of some kind. You just wake up and you feel different. Something has changed, whether it was, with your beliefs or something you understand now, whatever it is. They don't just show you something, they kind of change you in a way. I've heard of these, before before I even knew about the goddess Sekhmet. I had a dream about a lion, and I didn't think too much about it until I was reading Nikki Scully's book about the goddess Sekhmet. And in that book, I read that sometimes people will have dreams of being devoured by a lion, and that is Sekhmet's way of kind of initiating her into her mysteries. And so that could just be one example of this kind of dream. Now, there are other names for many different kinds of dreams, but I believe these to kind of be the main ones that people are going to recognize. But have you ever really noticed how quickly dreams kind of disappear? I'll tell you what, try to keep a dream journal and you're going to notice it instantly. You're going to realize, as you wake up, stretch, stumble out of bed, that all of a sudden your dreams are gone. And this can happen because dreams exist in a different state of consciousness than we are when we're awake. When you're awake, your brain shifts into that more logical mode and the dreams just kind of dissolve into almost thin air. It's really annoying when you're wanting to work on your dreams. But sometimes there's a deeper thing behind why we forget our dreams or even wake up not knowing if we've dreamed. I've had that a lot. I've had this sense of, feeling like I had a dream, but like I'm awake and I can't remember a single thing that happened. Sometimes that happens because we in our waking lives might not be ready to receive or hear the message that we've been given. Dream recalls can take practice, my friends. The more you honor your dreams and give them the attention that they need, the more they'll start to reveal themselves. It's like everything. You got to kind of work on it. Now, if you want to deepen your relationship with dreams, really form it into a practice. I highly suggest trying to keep some type of dream journal. Keep it by your bed. So as soon as you wake up, kind of program yourself. You wake up, you reach for it, and you start to write them down, even if it's fragments, even if it's words or feelings or smells or colors, whatever it is, whatever you possibly remember, write it down. Whatever, even if you woke up with just kind of an emotion in mind, think of that. Over time, patterns will emerge and it will get easier. I have an ongoing note in my phone that I've used over the years. So when my alarm goes off and I grab my phone to shut off the alarm, I immediately click on the notes app and I write the date and whatever I can remember about my dream. And then if it's a really good one that I want to, really keep track of, I write it in my journal. And so I can kind of pick it apart even more. Another thing you can do is set an intention before falling asleep. As you lay down, say to yourself, I am open to receiving messages through my dreams or whatever it is you're wanting to work on. You can be as specific as you want. This simple act can tell your subconscious that you're listening and you're wanting to work on this. You can ask questions before going to bed. Ask for clarity on something, for healing or ideas or insight, whatever it is, and then make the intention to stay aware in your dreams on what is happening. In your awake life, you could try to re enter your dreams through meditation or visualization. I often do this upon waking. If I'm having a really good dream and I want to figure out more on, how it ends. Sometimes I can literally make myself go back to sleep and enter it, kind of drop in right where I left off, or I'll just kind of stay in this weird in between sleep and awake stage and I'll just lay there and I want to know how it plays out. I had gotten pretty good at it, but then I had a 2-year-old and I don't live on my own time anymore. Dreams are not separate from your waking life though. They are a part of a continuous stream of consciousness. It's a conversation between your inner world and your outer world, between your human life and your soul. So tonight, when you go to sleep, remember you are not just resting and kind of resetting for the next day. You're doing that, absolutely. But you could be traveling and learning and listening and remembering. Dreams are another way your soul is able to speak to you. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for exploring the mystical dream realm. If this episode resonates with you, I would love to hear some of the amazing dreams you've had. You can find me on all social media and at Soul and Spirit LLC or my website soulandspirit.life. So until next week, stay connected and keep dreaming. I'll see you soon.